everyone, and welcome back to the LCS, where we are joined by Bwipo after a very solid victory over 100 Thieves, moving to 8-2 now for the Team Liquid squad. Sole hold of first place pending the results of our next game with Cloud9. Normally, I'd ask the first question, my friend, but I know that there's some draft stuff that these two want to dive into, so I'm actually just going to hand it off to whichever one of them wants to take the lead here on draft.
Oh, no. So there are two questions I wanted to ask about this draft. The first is, did you pick the Nautilus thinking that they wouldn't pick Zeri into it? And that, if you can answer these questions. And then the second draft is, that's the other, like, caveat,
You're actually asking me to leak our
read the fan.
Not a good,
and then I think
answer.
another smart thing that was the Gragas pick, knowing that if they do want to go Tryndamere into it, it's obviously a good counter.
I think Tryndamere into Gragas is not even a good matchup. I don't know why people play it. I'll be honest with you, even though it may look good in outcomes, I don't think the matchup is naturally good. Like, front to back fight, what does Tryndamere do? You saw it in one of the fights. Like, I was marking Tryndamere, he tried to like run past me, he can't. So I'm really not sure what the Tryndamere is doing there, other than like it's a huge comfort pick, I imagine. I really, like, when I look at their composition, they obviously need a damage threat to come in. On 5, because once we lock in Viktor, Zeri, I think that Ryze, Jinx, even though Jinx and Zeri have like very high mismatched damage amounts, where Jinx is the hyper carry that will outdamage Zeri, unless, you know, obviously the game can be played in a way where one of the AD carries is big, but from Champ Select, Viktor will do the same towards Ryze. So whoever has more damage this game, it should be us, in my opinion, because I think Zeri Viktor is just like bigger threats.
Yeah.
So 4-5, I'm obviously going to be looking to play a tank and play a front-to-back team fight as soon as our first 3 is finished. And I'm really not sure what Lee Sin and Tryndamere have to do in this game, but you know, like, I think it was just pure comfort.
They have to do a lot.
Yeah, they have to really smurf the early game, and it kind of worked out for them. But
I
I
like
don't think it was
speculate
good.
on what 100 Thieves would try and do here. They definitely wanted to snowball and then be able to play side lanes. Which is
100%.
would kind of be like the question I have for you, because if a Hullbreaker Tryndamere gets ahead, he should probably be able to push you in a little bit on Gragas.
I mean, he can push me in, but he can't actually get tower damage.
And this is maybe like a question a little bit outside of the game for you. I think like the early game is the easiest part of the game to rehearse, right?
Sure.
And script. But what I've always noticed about you as a player is like after 25 minutes, you are like unique and find a lot of opportunities. Do you think that's like a system thing you do, or is it just a matter of being creative in some way? Because especially in this game where like you just want a front-to-back team fight and 100 Thieves just wants to push side lanes, how are you approaching finding windows to actually be there in the fights and actually be in position to
Well, you say that, but this game, the enemy Tryndamere did not want to be in the side lane.
They just
he was moving mid every wave he could, so it was much easier for me to find 5v5 opportunities. Not to say that it didn't work, like it did work. The results, like I was surprised as well that Tryndamere had so much impact in the 5v5, but in general, I think that after 25 minutes, it's just about recognizing the right windows. Like, for example, right now, I know Jinx has no flash. If she disrespects me, I'm just screaming at my team, you know, like, if this guy ever walks, like, if he's on my screen, I'm flashing on his head, right?
Yep.
Because I'm playing Cosmic Insight and cooldown shoes, I know I have 90 seconds of flash advantage. So right here, this was a timed flash. We find the opportunity, we look for it. In general, talking with your team about what you should be looking to do in the team fights, which is something that Core helped me a lot with. It's like, please try to mark Tryndamere whenever possible. This was the play. So in general, like, I don't think I played a particularly good game in this sense, but like my idea of this game was as long as Jinx can't get a reset, they will never have enough damage to actually win the fight. Even if Tryndamere 1-for-1s with our backline, like the other carry will finish off the fight. Like either Zeri or Viktor will carry and clean up the remaining 100 Thieves players. So my job was just to mark Tryndamere as much as possible, and if I can't, the next most important target is Jinx. And in a lot of the fights, because Tryndamere was moving first and I was TPing into the fight, I had to be relegated to marking Jinx and making sure she can't play. And then, you know, when Jinx is on your screen and you're playing Gragas, sometimes you find a good ult and then she dies.
I know you feel like you didn't directly answer the question, but you did, right? It's because you're present in a lot of the things you need to do. Like, you know what you want to do in team fights, your team knows what you want to do in team fights. So then it becomes, once you have the goal, it's easier to find the approach. So, yeah.
I guess the answer is, like, you should be aware of how the enemy team wins the team fight, right? Like, how are they reliably going to win the team fight? Because there's always, and this is the fun about League of Legends, there's always something like strange that could happen. Maybe Leona finds an insane engage. Maybe Lee Sin finds an insane kick. It shouldn't happen, and therefore you shouldn't play around it. But generally speaking here, Tryndamere or Jinx will be the main factors in the team fights, because Ryze is more of a tank champion now. Everyone builds him with, like, the full tank build, which honestly seems like, I thought it was troll at first, but it looks pretty reliable. He's pretty beefy, surprisingly beefy. So you just have in your head, what is my job? What does my champion need to do to counter that? Or how do I win the team fight? And for my carries, it was make sure Tryndamere doesn't kill me. And for me, it was make sure Tryndamere doesn't kill my carries. And then make sure Jinx can't participate in the team fight, or at least make sure she can't reset.
Now, earlier in the split, there were some questions asked of you about how it was to slot into this Team Liquid roster, right? And at the time, supports were being traded in and out with CoreJJ and Olleh. But as you've had more and more time to work alongside CoreJJ, and now with him finally returning and hopefully in a more permanent way here, what has been what has that development looked like? Where would you say you guys are kind of in your journey of becoming a fully fledged, well-oiled machine?
I think that all things considered, I'm still trying to find my style precisely. Like, I think this game I was joining fights more than being present. Like, with those glimpses where, for example, I found the body slam flash on the Jinx on mid wave, where I was hovering mid first. With Hullbreaker meta, it's also harder to play a tank and go mid by yourself. Like, it's very rare that you have an opportunity to hover to a side yourself, right? Like, Hullbreaker existing in the game is creating a situation where even if you pick tanks that want to go mid and fight there, you're relegated to teleporting into the fight, which does make those tanks worse. This is just the way it is. You don't really have a way to stop the Hullbreaker champion from pushing you in. He's just going to push you in and run away if he wants to. It's hard to kill him 2v1 because they're really beefy. So I'm not 100% sure, because that was my OG style, right? I play Ornn, Aatrox, I walk mid, engage a team fight. Let's see how it goes.
We did it.
That doesn't really work out as well anymore, but still, I think that Hullbreaker isn't strong enough to actually provide a win condition. So even teleporting into a team fight, a tank should be good. That said, I played a lot of Graves, farmed a lot of creeps, and that worked out pretty well for us too.
The Hullbreaker
So
strat.
I think it goes both ways. I'm still not sure which is the best way to play, but I think in general, going 4-5 and finding a good draft for me, or finding a good pick, will always result in good results for us when we're playing with core. I mean, anyone.
Who is the most aggressive person on the team, and who is the person who's pulling back on the leash, for lack of a better analogy, of like, all right, everybody, slow down, let's take a breath.
The interesting thing is, I think that no one's pulling on anyone's leash.
Okay.
Which I actually think is not a great thing. I think having players backseat is actually very good, as long as it's in a positive sense, right? Like, so for example, when we're playing an outscaling comp, we fought the second Herald, we thought we were stronger. Well, if we just wait another 10 minutes, we're definitely going to win that fight. Yeah. There's no pressure from Soul, there's no pressure anywhere. And I think that if we just pulled each other's leashes there and just like, guys, it doesn't matter if we're stronger now. If we wait 10 more minutes, they literally can't play the game. They have no win condition. They can't 5v5, they can't win side. We're just going to win.
Yep.
And I think that having that is actually pretty important. That said, Core described it as, if there's a 50-50, I will take it no matter what. I will take a 50-50 chance to kill someone if I feel like it. If I feel like I can kill someone, I will try to kill someone.
How good are his fingers feeling that day? I
guess
is the question he's asking himself in that moment. That's actually so funny, though, in some senses, because I feel like when we look at this TL roster, most of the time we think Bwipo is the X factor. In fact, that's been said, right? But it sounds to me, the more and more that you talk about the team, that the feeling is that anyone on that team can be that.
I agree. I think so. Definitely me and Core are like the guys that will take a 50-50 if we feel like it's good. The others, they're a bit more composed. But I think it's really important to have that balance, right? Like, I don't mind being pulled on my leash and being told, like, don't take the 50-50 now. It's going to be a 70-30 in 10 minutes or like in 5 minutes.
I made a really dumb analogy before the game, because we had a feature where Abadage actually like trash talked. He said you guys were like, they played this like boring standard style, like just pick scaling.
The grandpa
like,
champs.
Yeah, but I'm like, the middle three, like Hans, Bjergsen, Santorin, I said they're like vanilla ice cream. But then you and Core are the things that add the flavor to the ice cream. Like, both are good, but in combination, it's better.
For which I
Does that work?
sufficiently berated him, because I was like, are you basically saying that Team Liquid is just vanilla ice cream with some Reese's peanut butter cups on top? Like, to me, that's not the top of the league. That's an acceptable dessert.
chili oil.
But that isn't the best in the league, which you guys are right now.
I mean, the Dame Blanche sounds nicer, no? And high quality vanilla ice cream is some of the best ice cream in the world.
Oh, get this man off my desk!
We got some really good vanilla ice cream here.
I don't like it. Bring Raz back. Bring Raz back. Okay, I want to push this forward real quick, because we're lucky enough to have you on the desk to help preview our next matchup. We're turning our attention to the next one. It's between Cloud9 and, of course, Golden Guardians, where Licorice has some thoughts on his opponent today in the top lane. Take a look.
I don't know. Summit, he's good. I mean, he's definitely good mechanically. He's really good in lane. He seems to die a little bit more than he should, but I kind of appreciate it. Like, he had a death versus Dignitas where he just, like, overstayed a little bit and, like, had a little cheeky... Like, he wanted to get another cheeky auto on the Lee Sin. It's like, you know, like, I appreciate that he's having fun. Maybe, like, I wouldn't want to... Like, personally, I wouldn't want to die there, but, like, I kind of respect it in a way. So, I don't know. I think he's good. It'll be good to play against him.
Couple laughs, couple smiles, and some respect given over to Summit, who, along with yourself, was the two talks of the top lane in terms of acquisitions for the LCS this year. Real briefly, Summit, Licorice. Let's start on the C9 side on Summit. You know, what have been your impressions of him so far?
I think he's a very strong player individually. He reminds me a lot of Ahri. I think he's the best, closest resemblance I can make, where he will play matchups that everyone knows how to play, but he will play them a little bit better, right? So he'll play the Gnar into Aatrox. He'll play Gnar, Aatrox, Camille, Kennen. Like he won't show up playing Shyvana top or Singed or anything like that, right? He'll play what he's practiced a million times, and he'll play it very, very well. And I think that's a very good strategy. All things considered, to play against players that are worse than you. I think that once you are playing against players that are able to match you in skill, you're going to have a harder time. I think that's displayed when he played Aatrox in the Gragas, and he got outscaled pretty quickly. Obviously, he still had a really solid game, but he wasn't able to find any impact there, and I think it's important to recognize that this is how you beat these type of players.
All right, well, with that, one final thing I have to ask you. We had 2 tier lists shown at the top of the day. They were about top laners. On one of them, you were number 1. The other one, you were number 2. Which one's right?
I don't mind. I really don't mind. Like, it depends what you look at. If you're looking at laning phase stats, Summit's definitely a better
Man
laner
likes
than me.
vanilla ice cream, and he's okay with
my
being
God.
second place. That's what I've
I'm
learned.
not okay with being second.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just ripping
I'm
you.
not okay with being second, but stylistically, we are very different.
Fair
I
enough.
don't think we play the game whatsoever, and it really depends on what you're looking at. Like, he can be the chocolate ice cream. I can be the vanilla.
There you go. All right, fair enough. I like that. You
There's
need
still
both.
pretty, like-
Every world needs
yeah.
both. And to be fair to you, you're currently in first place, so second to none. That's it for us. Thank you, Blippo, so much for joining us. Congrats on the victory today. From here, we're over to Flowers and MarkZ for the call.
Thank you very much, my friends. I'm Captain Flowers. This is Mr. Mark Zimmerman himself joining me for these last couple of games for the day. We got Cloud9 and Golden Guardians up first, and you and I were talking behind the scenes, watching the first half of the games for the day, and we both agreed this is match of the day material.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would look at 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid. Oh, that should be the one that
But
everyone's excited.
we will be proudly in the dissenting commentary on this one, because I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, me too. I think this is low-key one of the most exciting matchups in the LCS right now. Part of that is because Golden Guardians has been rallying quite strongly. They are the most aggressive early game team in the league. They were topping the tables at goal difference at 15, for example. So they're a team that's going to bring it early on. The first time they played as well, that was also when we had that kind of crazy Ivern in mid game. So I think Golden Guardians is going to want some payback for that one. And C9 has just been continuing on the up and up ever since then, too.
Well, let's see how the bans are going to look here, my friend. It's Ryze, Yuumi, and Jinx banned out by C9, whereas Zeri and Gwen, all too familiar as those first 2 red side ban slots, and then Aphelios for the Golden Guardians. So both of our hyper carry AD carries that have really been defining the meta out of the picture here in this one, and it's Hecarim for Blaber locked in first in C9.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think we've been seeing more Zeri today. Not too much of a surprise with some of the nerfs that came in. We were looking at that very quickly, and we're like, what did they hit? And it was like, oh,
What didn't they hit?
Literally everything in her kit got a number tweak on it. So it's still banned out here, though. The Hecarim's second highest priority. And wow, they're going fast here. Golden Guardians taking away the Karma right away. No, they don't want to give that one up to speed up the pony.
You want to talk about a fast early game, Mark? The first part of the game's champion select. We're
Speed run any percent.
Speed run any percent. Champ select. Jhin and Nautilus locked in for C9. Karma and Zhao locked in for the Golden Guardians. One more pick before the second half of the bans. What's it going to be?
We'll see if I get to talk before they lock it in. The Jhin, I like. I know a lot of people hate Jhin on the current patch, and I understand some of that sentiment when there's more powerful things available. But once you knock out these top 3, you're looking at Caitlyn, Jhin, Ezreal is kind of your next couple ones. And I think there's scenarios where the utility that Jhin brings can justify his position. When you put him in hyper carry comps, yeah, that's not great. But there's a lot of times where you're looking at this, and you're like, okay, they want some CC set up in their bot lane with the Nautilus Jhin, and then you're probably expecting more carries through the solo lanes, which they've hid till the end.
Well, we do have that Ezreal that you bring up alongside Jhin as one of those like next tier down AD carries. So that'll get locked in for the side of Golden Guardians. Plenty of safety, plenty of range with that one. He'll be able to poke together well with the Karma up against something like a Nautilus there in lane. Let's see how we're going to focus these bans here in the second half, though, because we have junglers and we have bot lanes locked in. But what about those solo lanes? It's Jace banned out by Golden Guardians, targeting Summit, of course. This guy is 1v9 hyper carry material, and they really want to try to control that a little bit.
Yeah, so basically, Golden Guardians is going to take their mid lane blind most likely, so C9 are going to ban out some of those powerful blind ones. For Golden Guardians, they're going to probably counter pick top, so they're banning out some of the powerful counter picks. Oh, they actually went Zilly.
Ooh.
That throws a little wrench in my spiel I was about to do about Summit being really good, so you want to take away some of the things that he can blind early on, but the counter pick that they want to get rid of there, potentially that means, I was surprised to see it taken out, but with the Viktor still up, most likely where they're looking to take that one right away, and then with potentially a Veigar ban, well, there you go. taken out as well. They keep blowing up my points right before I launch into it. I'm like, all right, maybe they'll do this. Nope, it's gone as well.
They're throwing you under the bus. So Corki, Veigar, Jace, and Zilean. That means 3 out of 4 of these second phase bans are targeted towards the mid lane, with 1 specifically targeted towards Summit. Now, what will the Golden Guardians lock in here? You already said you're predicting a mid lane choice first to try to give Licorice a better edge in that top lane matchup. That will be what they go for. Hey, with Corki and Veigar both banned away, Ryze also off the table from earlier, Zilean's not in there. Viktor feels pretty solid here.
Yeah, I was expecting the Viktor. That's why I was a little surprised to see the Veigar ban for the C9 side. The Zilean makes sense given that you're with the Hecarim. We've seen Fudge willing to play it. It combos extremely well right there. But otherwise, we'll see if they want to go more early game focused a little bit. The Gnar kind of telegraphs that it is blind, potentially the Ahri. There we go. Fudge played Ahri last week. It looked pretty good.
Okay, the Ahri locked in for C9. Final pick time. Golden Guardians. What is the answer here to Summit's Gnar? This is not a champion that is particularly one of those that feels like, oh, he's got some really great matchups and some really terrible matchups. Gnar's one of those champions who he kind of feels like an evergreen top laner. He's almost always relevant in some way, shape, or form. So that's going to be the lock-in for C9. Golden Guardians, they wanted to take the entire time thinking about this Graves pick. This was not an instant, oh, you got Gnar, we're taking Graves. They thought about it, and they decided to go with it.
Could have been as well just discussing other strategies. Sometimes you know, and especially given the bans that they kind of threw, probably, you know, he's going to fall back on his Gnar pick. He loves playing that. And you might just be talking through other things. A lot of the times you'll hold your last pick, even if you know what it's going to be, to talk about early game plan for Pridestalker, where you want to go. Because that is part of the interesting thing about this matchup for me is jungler attention. Pridestalker being a lot more aggressive, especially on the Jhin Zhao pick, is trying to get into these lanes and influence them early on. Whereas C9, you know, Blaber does still get very active early on with his Hecarim, doesn't wait for level 6.
I can't wait to see how they're going to throw down, man. Should be a fun early game. All right, so we're talking junglers. We're talking a Hecarim, we're talking a Zhao, we're talking 2 of these top-tier picks. Mark, I want you to talk to me about where you expect this focus in the early game to be and where the playmaking is most likely to occur.
So this is what's really interesting to me, not just the 2 champions on screen, but also the play styles they have with their teams. Lost and Olleh are top 3 in forward percent as well as jungle proximity. They tend to get a lot of help. They want to make pushing plays that make dives that kind of work with their whole team. Karma, Ezreal, great once they get the shove to be able to do that. On the flip side, Cloud9, Berserker, is bottom of the table basically for starters in both 4% and jungle proximity. They leave their bot lane on an island. And so the reason I was interested in this is because the Ezreal Karma has the push early on. I want to see if Golden Guardians' pressure on the bot side will force Blaber to start coming bot lane to try to bail them out, because that's kind of what happened in their first matchup, was there's all these dives that Blaber was reacting to, and they reacted correctly and punished Golden Guardians. But at the same time, we're talking about how much of a monster Summit is, and you want to play around him more often. That's where the attention goes most often for Blabbers into the top lane. And whenever you have 2 different people you want to focus on opposite sides of the map, you know,
like a tug of war.
Someone's going to win that battle.
Exactly. Who is going to end up earning the attention of Prom Queen Blaber to come to their lane and grace them with his presence? Now, Golden Guardians look like we might get a little bit of a delayed invade here, as Pridestalker's got both his buddies. The ward over the wall from Berserker means that they will spot this out. They know the Golden Guardians are there, and you can see Licorice also stepping up here at the enemy blue buff to contest this one in a 1v2 a little bit. Just give these guys a hard time, hassle them a little bit, take off some extra HP. Summit's going to go back to his lane now. Licorice will do the same, but a nice start here from the Golden Guardian.
Really intelligent level 1, playing with your priority and your power. Karma, Ezreal, so strong level 1. No one can really stop you from invading, so C9 don't even try. They just, you know, have their people drop some wards, and that's it. But also, Licorice is really annoying on Graves, and so they use that priority to harass Blaber, get a split map situation here. We'll see if Pridestalker just, you know, actually goes to do his blue and then attention down to bot lane, kind of setting up that win con that we were already addressing, or if he's going to try and get back to defend his red with the priority, and that's looks like what he's going to do.
Yeah, you saw the on my way ping in the Golden Guardians colors towards his Raptor camp specifically, so he'll move over here onto this, start this one up, clear it out, and then he'll be in control of his own red buff in time. Early on, Hecarim's not going to win a 1v1 against Zhao. That's just not really the way that this goes down, so he's pretty confident in his ability to control this area and keep things moving in his favor. As you can see, Blaber makes his way back down into his own bottom side jungle where the chickens and the red buff have been cleared away. But now he's saying, all right, if you're playing the 2 red quadrants, maybe I'll play the 2 blue quadrants.
It's scary because Golden Guardians do have the priority. So instead of going in there, he's actually going to put some pressure down the bot lane. If they can get this push now, because Golden Guardians have to respect that, then that allows Winsome to rotate up and try and help him. But you see Golden Guardians wanting to shove him off this buff, as well as the fact that Pridestalker's on the way down. They want to make sure they actually secure this triple buff for Pridestalker.
Okay, Pridestalker's ready. Winsome's here out in front. Root down onto Olleh, but he's not afraid. Buff's going to be down to 600. Blaber secures that. Lost going in. Winsome trying to get out. Pridestalker keeping the chase alive as Olleh goes for a flash play, but they're not going to find much with it. Golden Guardians, they try to bring in the collapse, but it's Cloud9 who end up getting away. Does cost some summoner spells though.
Little touch and go for Cloud9 there, but ultimately able to help Blaber through that bit of a rough early game. I really like the game plan out of the Golden Guardians, you know, making sure they use the most out of their champions from level 1 to try and net advantages for your team. But C9 able to just utilize that little bit of tempo from that push, have Winsome get there, get the blue buff, and get out without anyone dying.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if something's slightly different or a little bit slower, it could quickly turn into a disaster. But Cloud9 were able to properly calculate what they wanted to do. They got it done. They got out. Looking at our junglers now, Blaber's going to go ahead and back now on 20 CS. We'll see what he's able to purchase. Grabs the Ruby Crystal and some boots, so it doesn't feel too terrible. Obviously, when Pridestalker goes back, Zhao a lot of times likes to grab himself a nice early pickaxe or even an Iron Spike whip if possible.
And especially given the fact that you can expect probably their lanes to have shove for the majority of the early phase, and then you can try and show up at a half-health target, flash on top, and then find a kill. Nautilus, no flash now. If you land on Poke with your Ezreal Karma, maybe you can find a kill there. It's the mid lanes, which is the least interactive. Hold on.
Ooh, okay. No wallop, but Licorice flashes right back in and he gets first blooded 1v1. Summit wins those.
Wow, Summit already popping up. I was about to launch into the whole Summit winning matchups that, you know, you think he's going to lose. Licorice definitely, I think, got a little antsy of trying to flash away from the creeps that were hitting him potentially. He also had Pridestalker moving up, so I don't know if he could have tried to kite that out. Now this is potentially spilling over to mid lane as well as Winsome has moved up.
Winsome seeing if there's a play to be made on Ablazeolive. Nice dredge line, nice follow-up, nice kill from Cloud9. They even get the flash there at the very end and take him down anyway. Things are falling apart a little bit for the Golden Guardians here in solo lanes, Mark.
Yeah, this has gone south very quickly. We were expecting it to go a little slower. Really well done by Winsome, moving around the map, making things happen. I really like, for Cloud9, seeing how their team is progressing because, you know, it's easy to be like, oh, Summit's such a monster. But you still have the role swap Fudge. You have Winsome, who is coming basically from their amateur scene as well. First, take a look at the kill on the top side. This is where I was a little surprised. Licorice flashed back on top of him when this trade came in. Okay. Summit hops in. I thought he kited it out decently well. There was a ward in that brush. I think he saw that go down, so you know you can't go in there for security. The flash on top of him, I don't know if that was just a fat finger or what, so I'm not sure why he had to flash right then.
I think maybe he was trying to flash away from the boulder hitting him, but he flashed right into the boulder anyway.
Yeah.
So it didn't end up dodging that boulder, and then you can see Blaber delayed hitting him with the devastating charge just in case he was going to dash. They pick up another kill. Oh no, Licorice, these are signs of dire things to come when you die in the solo battle and then you get ganked immediately thereafter.
You TP back up there, the wave's now crashing, you give up the 2 kills, it just goes from bad to worse for him. And this is why I love Blaber so much when he plays the game is, you're like, oh, you know, Hecarim wants 6, he already got mid, he already got top. He is so good about coordinating with the rest of his team. He knows he can't turn a gank mid by himself, and Winsome needs to be there, and so they combo together to make that one happen. And then once there's no flash top because of the 1v1 that went down, now he can actually start making plays on his own. All this pre-6. The one saving grace for Golden Guardians, I guess, during this is your bot lane still has shove and can try and start the dragon stacking.
Well, here comes Cloud9, and they're going to end up stealing it away, and they might just grab themselves some kills on top. Going to be 1 for 1 here at the very beginning. Blaber tries to back on out, but the Chaos Storm is still ravaging his health bar. Double kill back over to Ablazeolive, and the Golden Guardians strike back. Berserker's below 100 HP, gets back over the wall and barely stays alive. Fudge can't do the same. Golden Guardians, they may have lost the Drake, but they'll win the fight.
Okay, so bit crazy there. You did not get the dragon, but you got a couple kills onto Ablazeolive, who I was worried about getting potentially snowballed on. Also, forced a lot of flashes in this fight as well. And just last second, I'm not sure if the smite was just too early for Pridestalker, because I didn't think Blaber smited it. Yeah, that's a Blaber smite, actually. And so it was Pridestalker just not ready for that combo burst to come in. And then once he doesn't get the smite off, there's no healing that comes in from that either. You get kind of exploded. But Viktor having 6, this chase down sequence, no one's hitting him, and he's just dropping damage over and over again. Yeah. Killing the Karma, not as important as killing probably the Viktor that's on top of your face. Berserker's able to flash out to stay alive, but this does put a lot of gold back into the power point for them in the bot lane.
I'm pretty sure if he didn't drink his potion, he dies to that Ezreal auto there. So here's your occasional PSA to never forget to drink the potions, even if you're past that early laning phase. I'm not actually sure. I wasn't paying
Let's give the credit to cookies.
attention to that one. Okay, fine. We'll give the credit.
There's enough cookie haters online that we'll give the cookies the dub when they can get it.
All right, well, we'll call it a cookie for now. Either way, it was important, and it ends up getting them away with it. Cloud9 still up a little bit over 1,000 gold. They got that first Drake on the board. It's nice and early. Total gold on the side of your screen right about now, and somehow the man who got a solo kill and then got ganked immediately after is leading the charts.
I am surprised to hear that. No, this is why we were so excited about this game. Is we knew it was going to be a bloodbath from moment one. There was already all these.
Yeah, we're at a kill a minute.
Yeah, we're at a kill a minute. I don't expect it to slow down from here. I mean, Summit is someone who wants to push his lead as far as he possibly can. He's probably going to be going that Hullbreaker next to try and keep putting the pressure onto Licorice, and that makes you, as Golden Guardians, want to make plays somewhere else, away from him, so that you're keeping pace with this Gnar, who feels like he's about to explode past the pace of the game.
All right, Golden Guardians have brought some backup into the bot lane. Pridestalker's going to force the Cloud9 duo away from the turret. That'll let Lost pick up some money from the plates. But talking about plates, up there in the top half of the map, it is Blaber securing the Rift Herald here for his team. And we'll see how much Cloud9's able to convert that into. Remember, Rift Herald does last 4 minutes. We're only 9 minutes in, so they'll be able to use that one for plates no matter what.
And this is exactly what we were kind of highlighting with the jungle proximity and the 4% for C9's bot lane. It's not that they're a bad bot lane, which is, oh, hold on, just in trade. Yep. It's not like they're a bad bot lane for why you see with these low numbers. They just don't get a lot of attention. Blaber comes down now to stabilize versus like trying to explode their leads. But Berserker is such a monster. His CSing is great, and he plays team fights immaculately. When 20-minute comes around, it's like a bomb comes off. And that's why so many teams, I think, also want to attack their bot lane to try and stop Berserker from getting to that bomb status.
Well, one thing that I also do like here is the fact that Golden Guardians, recognizing, hey, Blaber's up there, they're probably taking the Herald, whatever, they don't fight for it. They just bring Pridestalker down, knowing their opponents aren't going to die to any sort of a gank or dive, but Pridestalker's presence allows the other two to earn 2 plates, which is the value of a Rift Herald, right? Like, it's going to run in there, it's guaranteed to get 2. Yeah, you can set it up for more, but Golden Guardians not taking a fight that they're not confident in, but instead finding the better play to make as a trade, you're happy to see stuff like that, especially considering this team, like, people are excited to see Golden Guardians right now because of their early game aggro and how they've had all these awesome starts. But then things generally get a little bit bumpier in the mid game, right? It's some of that coordination, it's some of that decision making. So the more solid decision making I get to see from Golden Guardians around like these macro decisions, the more excited I am to see how their games are going to play out.
I think that's one of the things about this roster too, as in a bit of a development roster, Ablazeolive is still relatively on in his career starting the LCS. Pridestalker as well as been in the LEC and then went back down to the ERLs, now back here. So a lot of these players, it's either their first or second attempt in the LCS. I mean, Olleh and Licorice are, the 2 oldest, you could argue, on the team, right, in terms of experience. So, it's not like totally development roster, but I think Golden Guardians is one of these teams that you would have expected to ramp up across the season. And those mid-game decisions are the things that can really sink these development teams when your vision control is not quite right or your setup around objectives are the harder things to work on.
Well, we've got 30 seconds until our next Drake spawns. Remember that first Drake was a Golden Guardians attempt that was then outsmited by Cloud9 as Golden Guardians won the fight. So let's see what Blaber wants to do up here in the top side. He'll be going after Licorice, gets the devastating charge. Licorice with the flash out, but the onslaught of shadows finds its way in. They give the kill over to Summit, and there's no way home except a black and white screen for the top laner of the Golden Guardians. 0, 3, and 0 now.
Bit of an item diff right there. Hullbreaker, very cheap item, 2,800, and with how far ahead Summit was, could rush that one down very quickly. Golden Guardians are going to struggle to make a play on the other side of the map with the enhanced recall from Blaber already making his way down there, so they're trying to do this dragon instead in response to losing their top lane turret.
Well, the top lane turret being gone, also going to have that Rift Herald, looks like getting the charge into the second one. But the Drake will go the way of the Golden Guardians. Cloud9 cannot get their jungler down there in time, so they don't want to YOLO anybody in there for no reason. They're still 2,500 gold ahead. Drakes are tied at 1-1. Will be an Ocean Rift / Ocean Soul, but hey, whenever Drakes start off one for either side, Soul's not really a conversation that's going to be relevant anytime soon.
No, this is going to delay that bot lane win con that Golden Guardians kind of had about if they could, you know, shove out bot lane and control those. This might steal a bit of a disaster in that sense because it's not pushing a timer or win con for your team anymore.
Right.
And that makes the Hullbreaker Gnar even scarier as he keeps getting further and further ahead because he doesn't need to join fights if he doesn't want to currently.
Just hang out on the other half of the map. No reason not to. All you're dealing with is a Graves who is now a level and 20 CS and half of an item behind you. Things are just going to keep going Summit's way. Finally, Herald summoned up down here. Summit goes in, just goes for the ulti into the wall. Not going to hit anything but a minion wave with that one. And Herald only ends up getting the 2-plate value that it's guaranteed to get. So honestly, the Rift Herald take from Cloud9 and the trade that happened with Golden Guardians bringing Pridestalker down for plates, that equalizes.
Does equalize. I will say one of the things I do like about a Rift Herald, even if you trade it out initially for the turret plate situation, is it kind of gives you your pick of where you want to use it. I really like them when they're used mid to try and break turrets against things like a Viktor, whose wave clear becomes absolutely insane. Yeah, you hate trying to push. So if you can force that to take 2 plates against Viktor or something else, I appreciate that a lot more. I think he used it bot lane because it was starting to time out because he used the recall for tempo after the initial dive attempt in the top lane. So I don't think there was a better call for Blaber there, but in general, that's one of the things that makes Rift Herald nice is you do kind of get your pick of the litter of those turret plates versus what your game plan initially set you up to do.
All right, so we're just about 14 minutes in. Plates are about to fall. This is when I consider things to be in the mid-game for real.
We have officially entered the game.
We have officially entered the mid-game in 2, 1, boom. Okay, so now, Mark, Golden Guardians are down 3,000 gold.
Yeah.
We've hit the point of the game where we've said, hey, we want to continue seeing improvements around this point of the game for this team. The Cloud9 lead keeps on building. What is the play here? What is the call for Golden Guardians to stop this bleeding and get some solid ground to stand?
So initially I thought with all the pressure that their lanes were going to have, they want to be ahead at this point in the game, most likely. The nice part is you still have a bit of scaling in your back pocket with the Viktor, going to outscale the Ahri and things like that. So if you can slow the Gnar split push down, slow the personal gold accumulation going on for him, and then play for objectives where they have to run into you. There is a fair amount of engage on Cloud9's side, but if they flub a Nautilus engage, Blaber ends up too far the rest of it ahead of his team. Viktor and Karma have a ton of kite back potential that you can then kind of kill these people on their way out of a flubbed engage. And that's kind of how they're probably gonna have to play these team fights from behind. They will not have the control. They will not be the ones making them face check you and then you get to land a bunch of poke. You're gonna have to hope that they try and punish you and you get out safely.
Well, talking about getting out safely, man, not when the Nautilus ulti comes over the wall. Olleh gets picked off and Cloud9 pick up another kill. Winsome with a good flash away there to get out of the range of both the True Shot barrage and the collateral damage, meaning there won't be a trade back, and that's just a +1 for Cloud9.
Excellent example of what I just said, not to let happen. Thank you for illustrating that, Golden Guardians. I mean, it is hard. It's one of those things where it's like,
tough.
Just don't die, forehead, but then, you know, you don't have as much vision
Just
control.
don't get engaged on versus Nautilus and Hecarim.
Yeah, and Jhin for root follow-up.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's tough when you're not ahead with this comp early on because Ezreal Karma wants to play with priority. They want to force you to get doinked on as you kind of walk forward and try and contest that vision. And when the side lane's also not going your way, it's just very difficult to find a way back in the game. They don't have that much playmaking outside of Pridestalker. The rest of the team has almost no guaranteed CC, and so it's hard to push an advantage if you're not even ahead.
Ooh, nice job there from Fudge, forcing out the flash from Ablazeolive, who would have been dead if he didn't use the summoner spell there. Now Blaber's trying to invade the enemy jungle. He's hungry for some chickens, but he got a little bit more than he was looking for. Has to ult out to stay alive.
Nice max range ult there, actually, to get over the wall as well. Getting enough distance from everyone but the Ezreal, who, yeah, he can follow, but doesn't have enough damage to
He
finish
shoots you
off.
once or twice. No big deal.
All right, peace, dude. I got armor.
Easy enough, easy enough. Still, 4,000 gold lead for the side of Cloud9. 45 seconds till our next Drake spawns. I expect Golden Guardians to probably surrender this one.
We'll see. I think you would expect them to, but they have also invested some pressure in the bot lane and the mid. They're clearly willing to let top lane kind of go south as it's gone with how well Summit played that lane phase. It's just about, can you find a way to hit them during this part when they're trying to set up vision control? There was a reset there for both Ablazeolive and Lost. Looks like C9 are just getting their time up. Ahri's actually on the top side. She has TP, so they're ceding a bit of control for Golden Guardians. We'll see if they actually want to contest, though.
Okay, with the teleport coming out from Licorice, it looks like the Golden Guardians might be making the play for this one here. Fudge is up in the top side. He has his Unleashed teleport to be able to join the team fight if C9 needs him. Summit is down here, and Summit has 2 fully completed items. He has Trinity Force, he has Hullbreaker. The Gnar is very scary, but it's the Golden Guardians who have total control over the pit. The Rift Herald's going to be summoned up instead. Cloud9 are saying, all right, Drake doesn't matter. It'll never get to Soul. We're just going to trade you for direct gold instead. Herald takes the mid lane tier 1, which goes back to what you were talking about earlier. Breaking mid turrets against control mages, it's difficult, and this is one of your opportunities.
Yeah, I think that was a great trade for Cloud9 there. Get more farm on the Ahri, get the mid lane turret, and now with Baron coming up in the next couple of minutes, you can start actually pushing Golden Guardians comp further back underneath their turrets, get more vision control, so they're walking into your Ahri charms, they're walking into hooks, they're walking into Jhin roots, and it's a lot easier to exploit this Golden Guardians comp.
Well, Summit is even just walking up, contesting these. Jungler, top laner, it don't matter. He'll get in the face and try to steal away the Gromp. Summit is very confident in his state in this game. I mean, with the Ninja Tabbies, the only thing that's really going to even be able to do a lot of good damage to him through the armor and MR bonus from Hullbreaker, through the Tabbies. I mean, Viktor, but Viktor's not going to go deal with Gnar.
I tweeted about this, and we've both been playing a lot of Elden Ring, but like Summit feels like a goddamn Soulsborne boss sometimes. You know, like if you mess up, he punishes you. If you panic roll, you panic flash, you're dead.
They come to gank him, they just put these foolish ambitions to rest.
You can summon help. You can summon help. I'll take both you on.
Yeah. He's OP, man. He's fun to watch. I love watching this guy in the top lane. It's players that are aggro, players that are confident, players that know their limits and push those all the time. It's great to see. Ablazeolive, he does have a little bit of help nearby in the form of Olleh, just hanging out, making sure nothing's going to go too far south. But bottom lane, Summit continues to push. Licorice continues the defense, and the CS difference between the two continues to climb. 207 versus 169, just about a 40 farm lead for Summit, which considering a minion wave is 6 or, 7 in the case of a cannon wave, yeah, we're talking about a 6-wave lead here for the side of Cloud9's top lane.
Definitely going to be hard to stop him 1v1 in the side lane. I will say I do like Licorice's build. Instead of trying to get a Hullbreaker to contest the other Hullbreaker, you're never going to get the push anyways. And I think sometimes people get baited into the item feeling really good in 1v1s, and then the fact that they'll never push with it, and then you want a team fight anyways with the rest of your comp, that they get baited into buying an item that doesn't actually advance any win con for them. So once Licorice fell behind Summit, I did like the idea of saying, screw it, I'm going burst. I'm here to throw an ult with my Viktor, my Ezreal, and contribute this way because I am not the win con anymore. It's not about me taking turrets. It's not about me even really doing anything other than surviving against the Gnar. And I do like that adaptation by Licorice.
Okay, the Golden Guardians have surrendered control of their bottom side jungle to Cloud9. C9 nearly with a 6,000 gold lead now. Every time we look up at this number, it just continues climbing higher and higher. C9 placing down vision, clearing out the vision they find from their opponents. Pridestalker jumps over the wall here to fight for the blue. Looks like we'll have that one confirmed by Blaber, stealing it away with a good smite. But this is sort of what it feels like for the whole map right now on the side of Golden Guardians. They're getting choked out of things. Cloud9's not afraid to move these battle lines, move these vision lines forward, and Golden Guardians are constantly having to retreat.
And it's a small wins that they've kept getting. The first blue buff that Blaber barely got on that, kind of contest that came through. Stealing the dragon away, getting the 1v1 kill on the top side for Summit. It's been a couple of small advantages that went their way that have then really been exploited to make this monstrous 6,000 gold lead 20 minutes in the game that you're talking about. And when we're talking about, development roster for Golden Guardian side, I think a lot of people expected that from Cloud9 side as well, that this is a team that people were, other than LS, who was like, we're going to win spring and summer. I think a lot of other people were a little hesitant, but he's obviously the one who's more right. This team looks incredible, and they have been so dominant in their games despite only being half of a split together so far. It's insane to know that this is a lot of the times these first players have played together.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. And now I'm curious how they're going to move things forward, or if it's going to be a flashy way of moving them forward. Because quite honestly, it feels like they don't need to be flashy. They don't need to have some big defining moment because the game has already been defined, as you properly said, by all the little bits and pieces. It's death by 1,000 cuts, a blue buff here, a farm advantage there, a slight 1v1 outplay that ends up snowballing into a major advantage because Summit's got it calculated. All these different things, and now a TP's coming in. Licorice is getting caught, and Cloud9's decided to engage. Fudge finds the back line to the TP, and lost is lost indeed. Olleh tries to escape as Pridestalker goes into the back line and finds a kill, but Cloud9's cleaning up the whole damn team. Double kill for Berserker, 3 dead for only the support of C9. The fight went exactly the way you would expect it to, and Baron's the reward.
Cloud9 going to be able to win that fight. Golden Guardians were posturing with the dragon coming up, trying to find a fight before it actually came to that. They ended up having a TP ward behind them, didn't know that, and then once they got collapsed on, it was abandoned ship, basically. Every man for himself at that point. Like, this is a nice idea. Before the dragon actually spawns, pick the fight early. Licorice had rotated down from the bot side to try and make this one happen, but of course, they didn't clear all the wards out. I think that's actually, yeah, it's a ward down there. And so it gives Fudge an angle to immediately access Lost. They kill him. Licorice got chunked out during that flank time, and Ablazeolive and Pridestalker are just all in for 1 kill on the bottom side of this fight. You know, they get 1, and that's all they could get. Sorry, Berserker, still too healthy to end up taking down.
Nice shots coming out there from Berserker, too. Whenever Jhin's ulti hits the shots, one thing that I've learned to appreciate more about games over time is sound design. Those thumps from those bullets are
they're
boom,
chunky.
Boom! Yeah, they feel good to hit. It's just such a cool ulti. And hey, nearly 4,000 damage in the team fight. It's not all about the noise either. It's about the damage the noise does.
This is the kind of Berserker bomb that comes in 20 minutes that I was talking about. Like, has he been the story of this game? No, we've been talking about Blaber and Summit and all these other people. And then 20 minutes comes around, it's like, oh, he's doing the most damage in team fights again. Every single time it feels like Berserker just comes online at 20 minutes. And it's the case again here, playing that fight extremely well.
I'm going to call him Chekhov's Berserker because he's mentioned in passing at the start of the story, but we don't mention it for no reason. He's going to show up later and serve a very important purpose, and that's what he's doing. It's Chekhov's Berserker. The fact that he's there will be a thing for him to do later, but he's not going to be the main character. And now Cloud9, they got the whole party grouped up and ready to bring things to the Golden Guardians' door as Licorice gets dove on here in mid lane. Blaber and Summit trying to put the hurt on him as Summit used the ulti there. Gnar ulti has a very low cooldown. You can see the thing. You can watch it in real time. There it goes.
Yep.
It's cooling down. Where's the ulti? Oh. It's around here. Okay, cool. There it is.
It's back up. It was really nice to just chunk out Licorice, though, because it allowed them to grab that bot lane turret. Blaber just heals off the camps, and they're right back to it.
Ooh, and Olleh is not as durable as Licorice is, so he's just going to get exploded here in this one. Cloud9 take out the enemy support. They got a 5v4 man advantage. They get the Chaos Storm out of the Viktor. They will take the mid lane inhibitor, but health bars are injured enough. They won't take anything else. It's time to regroup.
That's a fair amount to get still. Mid lane turret, bot inhibitor, turret down. It feels
It's a lot.
It's a lot for only 24 minutes in the game. 11,000 gold lead. Looking like Cloud9's about to move to 8-2. We were talking about if they can tie Team Liquid at the top of the standings. Looking like it, and more it feels like it's becoming a bit of a two-horse race in the LCS between these two teams. They have been so dominant, it feels like, through the first round robin and heading into the second now. Cloud9 has been exactly the team that all their fans were hoping they would be. That Summit's this 1v1 monster on the top side, Berserker and Winsome, mechanical beast. Fudge is able to take that incredible game sense that he had in the top lane, move it mid, and Blaber's still Blaber. You know, he's been the multi-time MVP for a reason. You get to see more of it here.
I mean, Golden Guardians, the one thing they got going for them is they are on Soul Point. So, I mean, hey, one more Drake could get you an Ocean Soul. Remember, Soul on average worth about 5,000 gold. But I mean, I wouldn't be being honest if I said I think there's any chance of them getting a Drake at this point in time. When you look at the map,
they've lost so many of these Smite fights, it's about time they get one.
Like, how are they even going to get the man into the pit? There's no way. He's got to go on a magical journey through all of Summoner's Rift just to get down there.
Solid Pridestalker in a box.
Moving down the sneak through all the vision, get past the guards.
Yeah, why not?
Well, that's just about it for the Golden Guardians. I would say anything shy of their jungler being able to do a true Metal Gear Solid impersonation, steal away a soul, and then somehow 1v5 his way out, it's not happening, man.
For Cloud9 as well, do you really need an Ocean Dragon right now? Like, don't even go to it. Just keep the pressure up, take this inhibitor, then move everyone topside, and Golden Guardians are stuck in their base.
Yeah, Licorice is stuck against the inhibitor, and gallop. Here comes the horse, baby. Blaber picks it up as Summit did most of the work. And there goes inhibitor number 2 here in bottom lane. Ablazeolive moves forward, tries to scare away the Cloud9 top laner, but he'll only be able to push him back after his objective is already complete. The remainder of Cloud9 will move up into the top side here. Still a 5v4 overall fight. Blaber's coming in, he's ready to go. Ablazeolive in some trouble. Blaber's going to soak up the attention of everybody else, and then they'll turn around and kill Ablazeolive right after.
Oh my God.
Summit with the fadeaway boomerang. Cloud9 made this one look so easy, Mark. They'll clean up those Nexus turrets. Golden Guardians' remaining 2 players are just stuck inside the fountain. Summit gives up his life for the first time today to do a fountain dive. The only thing that can kill him is the 999 true damage laser, and Cloud9 keeps it up, baby. They get the win against Golden Guardians.
Cloud9 looking for some extra kills on the way out, but a dominant performance over Golden Guardians, who have been flying up the standings off the back of Super Week. They were looking really good, and you saw some really nice early game plans out of Golden Guardians, but I mean, C9 are just a DPS check. Can you or can you not deal with Summit in lane? The answer was no.
I mean, Licorice tried in that 1v1. We saw the 1v1 be very close, but obviously Summit came out on top. We liked the early invade plans coming out from the Golden Guardians to try to mess with the jungle, mess with the pathing a little bit. Again, Cloud9 came out on top because of winning the Smite fight, and I go back to what you were talking about. All these little things add up. They eventually get there if all these different little things come together. It doesn't have to be one giant explosive team fight or anything like that. And C9 just continue to show that they are one of our top contenders.
Yeah, I think when you're able to take small advantages and blow them up, as you were saying, that's exactly what makes a top team a top team. Like, you're not going to get a solo kill every single time in the top lane. You might not be able to find a ton of just individual outplays, but if you can work as a unit to get your jungler that blue buff that he so desperately needs, you know, to give him that little bit of extra experience, get him off the ground, that's when you're really working well together as a team.
So Cloud9 is definitely enjoying things here, and Golden Guardians, although they weren't able to find that explosive early game that they were looking for, it's another one of those games where it feels kind of hard to really judge this game, especially because what you were talking about with the comp, like Ezreal Karma wants to play with Prio. They want to be at a spot where they can be there first and force you to have to engage into them, because Ezreal's engage mechanisms, I'll try to shoot you. Karma's engage mechanisms, I'll try to shoot you. Viktor's engage mechanisms, hey, I'm going to shoot you with a laser. Graves, they'll then do the same, and Zhao says, hey man, I'm going to get you after these first 2 hits get out of the way. There's not a lot to it, so they didn't really have a good way back into the game. But now, during the Spring 2022 split, you can use your MasterCard, yes, yours, to make a purchase from the in-client store and save your card on file to be entered for a chance to win a trip to a League of Legends event or a set of 9 Player of the Week statues and a MasterCard prepaid card. The entry period for this ends today, so this is your last call to get entered. If you're interested in those prizes, hit that up, and hopefully you will walk away a winner, my friends. You're all winners in my eyes, but hopefully you'll walk away a winner in the contest eyes too. We're stepping away now, but on the other side, Golden Guardians head coach Nero joins the analyst desk to break down their match before Dignitas Quantum Pay takes on CLG. See you there.
Okay. Oh, we're giving the wave to Erickson.
Good old times.
Yeah, good old days.
Ooh, okay. No wallop, but Licorice flashes right back in and he gets first blooded. Fudge finds the back line to the TP, and lost is lost indeed. Olleh tries to escape as Pridestalker goes into the back line and finds a kill, but Cloud9's cleaning up the whole damn team. Double kill for Berserker, 3 dead for only the support of C9. The fight went exactly the way you would expect it to, and there is the reward.